Today we're going to be looking at lesson 8.3, finding the volume of a cone. So we have two objectives, so make sure you write these down. The first objective is we want to compare the volume of a cylinder with the volume of a cone. And the second is we want to be able to find the volume of a cone. So here's our first example, the volume of a cone. Kira is filling a cone-shaped pastry bag with frosting from a cylinder-shaped container. So there's our cylinder-shaped container, and she's putting the frosting in this cone. How much frosting can the pastry bag hold? So we're trying to figure out how much frosting it can hold. How can Kira determine how many times she can fill the pastry bag? So we're going to be looking at that. So we need to know the formula for finding the volume of a cone. So we don't know what the volume of a cone is. We don't know this. But we do know the volume of a cylinder is equal to, please type that in. It's equal to the base times the height. Or we also have the volume of a cylinder, the base is pi r squared times the height. So now we're going to watch a short video comparing the volume of a cone with the volume of a cylinder.
In this video, we'll demonstrate the ratio of a volume of a cone and a volume of a cylinder. We have a cone and a cylinder with the same diameter and height. The cylinder is filled exactly with 3 full cones of water. The volume of the cone is 1/3 of the volume of the cylinder.
Now that you've watched the video, we know that the volume of a cone is equal to the volume of a cylinder. The volume of the cylinder, call this like this, but it has to be 3 times that. 3 volumes of the cone is equal to the volume of the cylinder. So we can say that 3V is equal to, well, we know that the volume of a cylinder, let's use green actually, the volume of our cylinder is the base times the height. So we can say that is base times height. So the volume for a cone, we can divide both sides by 3. The volume of our cone is equal to 1/3 base times height. Okay? This is only true when, remember the base has to be a circle. So this is true because the base is the same for both of these. So now back to our question. Kira is filling the cone-shaped pastry bag with frosting. So we have our formula here. So we know that our base, the radius, will be 2. So we have a radius of 2 and a height of 5. So the volume is equal to 1/3 times pi times 2 squared times 5. So the volume is equal to 1/3 times 3.14 times 4 times 5 gives us 20. And the rest of this I will type in my calculator. So you get approximately equal to 20.93 inches cubed. So that is how much the pastry bag can hold. How much, so the pastry bag can hold this pastry bag can hold 20.93 inches cubed. Now for the container, the volume of the container, I'll do this right up here, is the volume is equal to pi times 2 squared times 5. So the volume is equal to 2 squared times 5 times 3.14 gives us 62.8 inches cubed. 62.8 inches cubed. So we can see that the cone is 3 times smaller than our container. So go ahead and find the volume of this cone. So you should have gotten 9.42. All right, now we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to solve the volume problems. So Midori has a cone full of birdseed to feed the birds at the park. What is the volume of the birdseed cone? So we know volume of a cone is 1/3 times the base, which is pi r squared times the height. So we know that our radius is 7. What is our height? Well, our height is the part that is perpendicular to our base. It is like an imaginary line that is slicing right down in the middle, going down the middle. It's perpendicular. This is our slant height. That is not the height of our cone. But we can see that our cone creates a right triangle with our radius and the slant height. Dun, 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 dun. Pythagorean theorem comes back to haunt us. Oops, c squared. So we will have a squared plus 7 squared is equal to 25 squared. So a squared is equal to 25 squared minus 7 squared. A squared is equal to minus 7 squared, 5, 7, 6. So A is equal to, should have 24. So A is 24. So our height here is 24. So our volume, now we can find our volume is equal to 1/3 times 3.14 times 7 squared times 24. So our volume, when you type that all in, you will get actually, go ahead and type this out. So we will have 3.14 times 7 squared. And I encourage you to do this as well on your calculator to become familiar with how to work your calculator. You get 1230.88. And our units are centimeters cubed. So that is the volume of our cone. Okay, so we had to find that height. Make sure when you're doing this that you are identifying each part, identify your formula, and then you're just substituting it in. That's how I would like you to show your work. So now we need to find the volume of the cone when we're given the circumference. So we know that the circumference of the base of the cone is 6 pi. So the circumference, C, is equal to 6 pi. What is the volume of the cone in terms of pi? So we know that the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. Volume is equal to 1/3 times pi r squared times the height. So we need to find out what h is and what r is. We know h is 13. We need to find what r is. So to find r, we will use our information for the circumference. We know the circumference is 6 pi. So 6 pi equals 2 pi times r. When we divide both sides by 2 pi, we get 3 is equal to r. So our radius is 3. Now that we know this information, we can find our volume. Volume is equal to 1/3 times pi times 3 squared times 13. So our volume is equal to 1/3 times 9 times 13 times pi, just reorganizing this. So our volume is equal to 1/3 of 9 is 3, so 3 times 13 pi. So our volume is equal to 48. Excuse me, not 48, 39. I don't know where I got 48. 39 pi. 39 pi inches cubed. It's not squared, it is cubed because that is our volume. Go ahead and find the volume of this question. So you should have gotten 50.24 millimeters cubed. And go ahead and find the volume of this question. You should have gotten 448 pi feet cubed, okay? Make sure you are expressing it in terms of pi because that is what it tells us, okay? Please let me know if you have any questions. Keep up the great work.